Well, AEW has entered the fallout after one of the best pay per views we have ever witnessed in the history of professional wrestling. We're talking about All Out. We're going to see what happened. Ruby Wright makes her first in ring debut. We hear the words from MJF after his loss and many other things that took place. But my favorite thing that I want to watch is part two between Minoru Suzuki and Jon Moxley. But also, we're going to review a previous event, a collaboration between two different independent promotions. We're talking about GCW and Black Label Pro for three cups stuff with some amazing matches that took place. Also reviewing two past events from DDT Pro Wrestling that took place at the end of May, and also one at the end of April by Stardom. So let's get started with another episode of the Leader Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jared here. So let's begin with AEW Dynamite coming into their fallout after AEW's All Out pay-per-view, which was one amazing show. Best booking matches, three great debuts, and I have to say it's one of the most best pay-per-views so far this year. Others are saying that this is way more better. It's been the best pay-per-view since WrestleMania 17. And I cannot deny that whatsoever. But right now, let's go with the opening match. We had Malachi Black taking on Dustin Rhodes, who's out for a little revenge for Malachi Black's attack on the Nightmare family. First, his little brother Cody, then Arn Anderson, Brock Anderson, Lee Johnson. But however, I have to say, Dustin in this type of match, it showed no matter how hard things were getting for him, he was not going to stop until he gets payback. But however, Malachi Black seems too much for him, and of course, it was bleeding out from the mouth. So Malachi Black may have gotten away with the win, but however, it did reveal that he will meet with Cody after we haven't seen him for quite some time, get his revenge on Malachi for what he's caused. Now, ever since we saw one incredible match between CM Punk and Darby Allin, the real question remains in everybody's mind: who's next? But of course, in this kind of storyline, the way they build up, Taz decided to interrupt CM Punk. Now, Taz thinks it's this that Punk mentioned Team Taz. Now, he has that delusion about thinking what he thinks is true. But I think he's playing the role where he's trying to stay relevant that no one is. But Punk's like, look, I didn't mention them. But Team Taz was keep running his mouth. So Punk made a decision. Bring all of them. Bring himself. Bring Stark. Bring Hobbs. Bring Hook. So basically that was the case that took place. But, we'll see what happens then. Now, as you know, we have a number one contender for the AEW Women's title, Ruby Soho, who made her amazing debut at the Women's Casino Battle Royale. She now knows she has to face Britt Baker for the title, but however, Britt Baker, who believes that, she just weaseled her way in to get this title shot, she believes that, what's her name? Jamie Hayter is going to take care of her while she rests up. So, but Ruby did warn Tony Schiavone. I know she's your girl, but I'm gonna whoop her ass. So basically, she's telling him that this has become more personal than ever. Now, this next match, we have power over speed. We have Powerhouse Hobbs taking on Dante Martin. I'd say this was another classic David versus Goliath, but I think one of the most interesting moments in this one is when Dante Martin went through Hook, fearless, like a little game of chicken, and I think that was pretty good. Dante Martin did use his speed as possible, but however, he was still no match for Powerhouse Hobbs. However, other than Team Taz dealing with now CM Punk, there is another thorn to their side, and that is Brian Cage, who is not done with Team Taz. Now, once again, Dan Lambert and the Men of the Year saying that AEW it's not pro wrestling, that he is more of the old school, kind of like the Jim Cornette, who speaks his mind saying what professional wrestling should be. And basically, he thinks that the real talent are the Men of the Year. And I hate to say it, basically, some sooner or later, someone's gonna kick Dan Lambert's ass and shut him up. Now, as you know, MJF has not been himself ever since he lost to Jericho. However, he questioned the restart. He thinks that people are out to get him. No, no one is. He's playing this delusion. And not only that, he had the audacity as a true heel to decided to attack the people of Cincinnati, Ohio. And of course, one of the defending champions, a resident of Cincinnati. I'm talking about Brian Pillman Jr. Not only that, MJF insulted his grandmother. Not physically, but verbally. But of course, Brian Pillman made some common points. This is where we have men built for fighting. And he's right. His dad is from Cincinnati. John Moxley is. This city of Cincinnati is like, we are men who don't give a damn and will fight if we have to. And that's the kind of attitude. However, MJF had to go there about his mom. Pillman did not like that. He tried to deal with it. He even told Wardlow to back off, but he had no other choice but to intervene. Even Griff Garrison showed up, tried to give him a helping hand, but apparently, what's his name? MJF used the diamond ring to knock him out. Basically, later on, it showed that he was not in a good condition. But of course, once again, their rivals, the Acclaim, decided to come out and little joke on their faces. Caster set himself in the match against Pillman this coming Friday in Rampage, while Pillman requested a match on the 22nd of September against MJF at New York, which is going to be good. Now we get to the match. Jamie Hayter along with Rebel and Britt Baker taking on Ruby Soho. I have to say, this match seemed like it was in a dominant version of Jamie Hayter, but Ruby Soho did not quit. No matter what Jamie Hayter tried to do. But somehow Ruby Soho was able to pick up the victory, but it did not take lightly by Britt Baker that somehow she has to deal with it. And all of a sudden it was a 3-on-1 scenario, but out of nowhere. Now, I don't know where this come from. Riho shows up and helps Ruby. And I'm like, whoa, that is interesting. And then, of course, no match for Riho to help. But, of course, here comes the Chris Statlander, who lost to Britt Baker, came to the rescue. However, it did reveal for Rampage this coming Friday that Chris Statlander will be teaming up with Ruby Soho and Riho in a trios match against Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and Rebel. So this is going to be a very interesting match to watch. Now we get the Pinnacle, FTR, and Shawn Spears along with Tully Blanchard taking on the Dark Order. Now the Dark Order are currently in a descent, fighting amongst each other. Now Anna Jay tries to play peacemaker. However, the match was pretty good. Seemed like they were getting in the same page, but however, Silver knocked out Uno by friendly fire and of course lost the match. But Uno lost it. He attacked Silver. This was about to become a Dark Order civil war, and of course Anna Jay doesn't know what to make of it. Neither does Tay. However, I think there was a good common point that what's his name that Tony Schiavone made. The Dark Order needs a leader. They're now in descent. As you know, the current leader is a kid, but there is several options that they're looking at. There are those who are talking about Bray Wyatt coming back. Now I don't know if that would play out well, but for me, I don't know how you guys would feel. I would definitely try to put Hangman Page as the leader. Why? This is his way of fighting back against the Elite. The Elite will be getting enemies left and right. So that's another conversation for another time, the way I would see it. Now, speaking of the winners of that match, Tully Blanchard had an interview with Tony Schiavone. It appears that he has his long history with Sting, believing that he's using Darby Allin to stay relevant. However, he asked Tony Khan to set up a match for next week, or is it Rampage, to have Darby Allin taking on Shawn Spears. So this is going to be an interesting match to watch, and I'm kind of excited to see where they're going to go with this one. Now, and then of course we get another interview with the Elite. As you know, the Elite lost to the Young Bucks lost the AEW World Tag Team titles, but however, Don Callis once again with his ridiculous conspiracy theories happened, and of course, Kenny retained the title, and then here comes Adam Cole. Now, Adam Cole decides to show disrespect to Tony Schiavone, who is close friends with Britt Baker, and he thinks that he's looking at her the wrong way, but he's not. However, Kenny was about to give another promo, but he was interrupted by Daniel Bryan. He does not want to face him. But Bryan Danielson made a very interesting point. Is Kenny afraid of him? Kenny claims nobody is in his level, but yet he does not want to face Bryan Danielson. However, Danielson said, "You are not even in my level," and of course he put him in that armbar. And I don't know if you saw this, he tapped out, but of course the Elite tried to get in, and here comes the Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, Marco, along with Christian and the Elite Hunter, Kazarian. They took care of business, but they beat up Stooge, Brandon Cutler, very great. Now, there is a good moment that I did see. What if these guys? Here's a thought. What if we see Bryan Danielson, Christian, Frank Kazarian, all three members of Jurassic Express as a faction, the faction that is willing to fight against the Elite? This would be a great storyline to build, because there's like a bit of the even numbers. You know, you got the Stooges like Nakazawa and Cutler. You can deal with them, but that is something we definitely could see down the line when we get to that point. Now let's get to the main event: Minoru Suzuki versus Jon Moxley. Now, we haven't seen this type of match again since early of 2020. This is prior before the pandemic took place. It was a good match. Not to mention, Minoru Suzuki got busted open. And if you guys haven't seen Minoru Suzuki, you guys were in for a treat. This guy is a badass. He doesn't give a damn what you think. Recently, he's been doing some US shows since he moved to London to be with his real life girlfriend, current NXT UK roster member, Meiko Satomura. And of course, this is interesting. He'll be making appearances in GCW, so if you guys are interested, check those out. One of the matches that are going to take place that I'm aware of is the 17th of September in LA. He's going to be taking on Jonathan Gresham, but Minoru Suzuki never gets old. However, Jon Moxley, who is a total badass, and this was his homecoming because we're in Cincinnati, Ohio, where he's from. This showed that he is still the same badass that we all know, no matter what Minoru Suzuki thinks of him. But it was a good match, and I hope you guys do love Minoru Suzuki. Keep watching him. You guys will love his previous matches, and you probably will be amazed of all the incredible matches that he's ever done. And pretty much it. And I'd say let's move on with GCW 3 Cup Stiff. Okay, so this next event is one of the recent events for this month of September. This is a collaboration between two different promotions in the indie scenes. We're talking about Game Changer Wrestling, or as we know them, GCW, teaming up with Black Label Pro, or BLP. So this event is called 3 Cup Stuffed. This was in Chicago around the same time we were dealing with AEW. So now GCW are piggybacking on AEW's All Out. If you guys know this or not, All Out is their WrestleMania version. That's the reason they're doing their shows there. And I'm not faulting them on that at all, but it's fun. The opening match is, of course, a 6-way scramble match. We have Billy Starks, Jordan Oliver, Nick Wayne, Marcus Mathers, Starboy Charlie, and of course the oldest wrestler, Mike Jackson. I thought it was a pretty good match. People were rooting for Mike Jackson. I'm like, okay, he may be old, but he still got it. But however, I feel it would have been easier with a much younger person or someone who is well recognized. But this match ended in the favor of Jordan Oliver, who is one of the fan favorites, in this match. I mean, we do have Starboy Charlie, who is another fan favorite. But Jordan Oliver picked up the victory on this one when he pinned, I forgot who it was, but it was a good match. The next match is for the BLP Midwest title. We have Tom Lawler taking on the champion Alex Shelley. I thought the match was great. Alex Shelley played a very good heel here, but many fans were rooting for Tom Lawler in this particular match. But it was amazing how Tom Lawler was able to put Alex Shelley in a chokehold, forcing him to tap out and becoming the new BLP Midwest champion. Now the next match is a sort of a super lucha libre, a 4-way tag team match. Here's who we have. We have Juventud Guerrera teaming with Kamikaze, who is in fact Ninja Mac. We have Laredo Kid and ASF versus Dragon Bane and Hijo del Canes Lupus versus Gringo Loco and Ares. I have to say this match was unbelievably good. It was almost similar to a scramble match, but this is all lucha libre stuff. This is something that is special. If you're not fans of the lucha libre style, then you guys are missing out, because that's how it is with this match. But to me, I was a bit biased because these guys are talented, because I didn't know who to pick. But however, it was Gringo Loco who picked up the victory for his team. I was so amazed with that match. It was so good. I think I enjoyed it a lot. Now, before we get to the next match, all of a sudden, the most hated faction, plus the most scumbag of the earth in GCW. We're talking about Ricochet Taylor and his faction 440 decided to put out a little promo telling them that in War Games, this will be the last time we'll ever see Nick Gage. Their rivalry has been taking a toll for who knows how long. RSP is sick and tired of Nick Gage taking all the hog and glory. That's what he wants. He wanted him gone ever since he beat him for the GCW title the first time. But now this time it's more like he wants him gone forever. Now let's go to the next match. We have Stallion Rogers, or as we knew him in WWE, Kurt Stallion, taking on Too Cold Scorpio. I have to say, what a match. I mean, look, Stallion Rogers was phenomenal. Even though he lost in this match to Too Cold Scorpio. But Too Cold Scorpio, he is wow. Even though for a guy his age, keeping up with guys like Stallion, wow. I can go like that every single time. Wow. But it was good. So Too Cold Scorpio won this match, and of course earning the respect from Stallion Rogers. Now our next match is for the BLP heavyweight title. We got Effie taking on Jake Something, who is the champion. This match was many fans were rooting for Effie to win because Jake Something, who is a face in Impact, he's a heel in BLP, and I thought it was a very interesting match. But however, you cannot match the dominance and power of Jake Something. He is a force to be reckoned with, and Effie put up a good match. But however, in the end, it was too much for him to handle. So Jake Something retained the title. Now the next match is an 8-man tag team match. On one corner we have Power of Pain, the Barbarian and Warlord, teaming up with Warhausen. That's consistent of Warhorse and I am Danhausen. I am very famous and I'm very evil. Yeah, that never gets old for me. So don't complain. I thought it was a good lineup, but the team they were facing is Second Gear Crew, consistent of Matthew Justice, Mance Warner, and AJ Gray, plus the leader of MDK, Nick Gage. I thought this match was good. It was special. However, it did show that coming in War Games, this is something that we will see. Nick Gage is determined to put this guy out one way or the other. And of course, this shows how in this particular match where MDK is ready to throw whatever he has at 440. But he did a pretty good promo when they won the match. Now the main event is a death match. This is more like the final match, hopefully if it is, between Jimmy Lloyd and G Raver. Now these guys known each other for years. They were tag team partners until G Raver had enough of Jimmy Lloyd, decided to get payback. This is like more like the final chapter in their history. But man, this match was nuts. Wow. G Raver, he went through easy to hurt Jimmy Lloyd, and I think it was a phenomenal story. And I think I was hoping G Raver was win this one because if you look at it this way, he felt that he suffered through hell because of Jimmy Lloyd, and Jimmy Lloyd it was more like the villain in this entire story. And I think that story kind of showed who's the hero, who's the villain. And I think you look at G Raver, who looks more like he's coming from Satan's backyard. He was the one who was the hero of the story, and Jimmy Lloyd, he's the villain. But that's how I felt about this match. However, G Raver got the pinfall, bleeding out. Could this be the end of Jimmy Lloyd and G Raver? I don't know, but I'm willing to see what's going to happen. But however, we still got more of GCW events. We got the War Games coming up. And right now, let's move on with, of course, I think we got DDT Pro Wrestling. Okay, so right now we got a DDT event. This is mostly coming from one of their sister promotions, Ganbare Pro. They only had 2 matches because they went into a long expedient time. The first match is an 8-man survival tag team match. We have team number 1, Kaosuke Ishii, Kaoki Iwasaki, Shigehiro Iri, and Aruz Kaze, taking on Shota, Yuna Mizumori, Yumehiro Inamari, and Ken Oka. Now, Team 2 was one of my favorite teams to watch because they were all energy, they were all energetic, they were all having fun, especially Yuna Mizumori, who I've seen countless times with Got to Move, but mostly on the Choco Pro events. She is like all balls to the wall, she's ready to fight, and I was like amazed with the match. Now, I was having a hard time keeping up who got eliminated in this match. This was elimination by pinfall or submission. But however, This match ended in the favor of Team 2 thanks to Mizumori, who in fact uh, pinned Arukaze. And I thought it was a great match. And of course, I have to say Yuna is one of my favorite wrestlers to enjoy because she's always ready for a fight. She's always having a good time. If you guys never seen her, go watch Got to Move and you see the recent events how she wrestles. You guys would be amazed what kind of person she is. She's always ready. She even has this attitude where she talks like she's ready to fight, and that's what I like about her. But it was a good match. Now the next match is for the GWC six-man tag team titles. Uh, the challengers we have the Happy consisting of Sakurai, Mohiko Harumisawa, and Katsuzuki Shunoke taking on the champions Shishido Tominaga, Hagane Hishono, and of course Asuka. But as we know, in AEW, uh, Benny, they were the current. They beat them for their titles not too long ago, and now they get their payback and reclaim the titles that they lost to them. And I thought it was a fun match. I was like thinking, okay, since Asuka is the fan favorite because she has been in the independent scenes everywhere. Now I'm not talking about Asuka from WWE. When she was in Japan, she was known as Kana, but this is Asuka, you know, and it's kind of fun to see it. But however, somehow, what's his name? Um, Katsuzuki Shunakoe was able to pick up the victory for his team, and he couldn't even believe it. I think he was a bit of surprise that after all of this time, he was able to pick up a victory, and I think it was a good match. Even though the Gambari show had two matches, I have to say they're really fun. Even though they had from the cagematch.net, they had the lowest ranking, but it was a good show. I'm not gonna lie about that. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's move on with Stardom. Okay, so the last review I got for all of you is this is a Stardom event that took place back in the 29th of April. It was at a different location. This one is part of the Cinderella Tour 2021 in Sendai. Just wondering if this is the same area, the same around the same time that Earthquake took place, but I'll look it up at some point. Anyway, the opening match we have tag team action. We have Odatai members Ruka and Rina taking on Queen's Quest, Hina and Azumi. Now, I want to make a fun fact here. Two of the girls from the opposite side of the team, Rina and Hina, are in fact twins. Yes, you guys are not delusional. They're twins. Uh, they're sisters. They first broke in here into Stardom about a year or two ago. They were part of the faction known as Tokyo Cyber Squad uh, until they were pulled the plug, all thanks to Oda Tai. Ina ended up with Queen's Quest, while Rina ended up with. But they do have an older sister, Hanan. Um, but during the pandemic, they were unable to reappear due to the fact that they were dealing with a family emergency. Uh, but they're pretty talented. I mean, uh, I have to say, seeing them face off each other is nothing new to me. Of course, if you ever seen one of those open promos, Ina actually talks how reckless Rina can be, and she's not wrong because Rina is a member of Odatai, and these girls cheat their way through the win. They try to help each other whenever they need it. But however, this time it didn't do so well when Azumi put Ruka in a armbar submission, forcing her to tap out. So this is an amazing win by Queen's Quest, but there's still more to come. Now the next match we have Lady C, who is still unable to win a victory, taking on the leader of Queen's Quest, Momo Watanabe. I have to say it was a pretty good match, despite the fact that Momo's facing off an individual who is a bit more taller than her, but size doesn't mean anything to her. She always finds ways to bring her opponent down, no matter. She is one of the most popular wrestlers. If If you guys haven't seen Momo before, you guys know what I'm talking about. We'll see what I'm talking about. But it was Momo who won, taking the victory to the top. Now, this next match, we have DDM, Micah and Sudi taking on Queen's Quest, the other members, Saya Kamitani and Utami Hayashida. Now, this match was a bit of a setting up of the storyline between Sudi and Utami. These two ladies have been at each other's throats for who knows how long. Reason is this: Utami has been declared as the top champion ever, the best female wrestler, everywhere where she goes. But Sudi wants to be the one to dethrone her, since she is the current, the World of Stardom champion, or as we call that title, the Red Belt. So basically, this is one of those matches where it shows that they're determined to dethrone. That Sudi is about to dethrone, but the match was unbelievably good. You would have assumed there had to be a winner, but it ended in a time limit draw. Now, I know some of you saying time limit draw doesn't mean a thing. Well, it's kind of a big deal because they showed how evenly matched they were. Next match, we have Stars, consistent of Hana, Starlight Kid, and Mayu Iwatani taking on DDM, Himeka, Natsupoi, and Julia. Now, Starlight Kid hasn't forgotten Julia, what she did to her, wanted payback for ripping off her mask, trying to humiliate her in public. However, it did not go her well. Julia was the one who put her out of her misery to pick up the victory, but yet again, their little rivalry continues to pick up once again. But it was DDM, consistent of Julia, who picked up the victory for her team. Now, our main event, this is the Artist of Stardom Championship. This match was set because Odatai members Natsuko Tora indicated that the Cosmic Angels, who are the champions, and they still currently are, in case you're wondering, because I'm a little behind, they believe the Cosmic Angels don't care for these titles, that they don't care for them whatsoever, much like they do. They want to believe what they say that comes out of their minds or their mouths. But however, Cosmic Angels have proven time and time again that they are willing to defend the titles no matter who they are. But however, the Cosmic Angels are on a roll with the best defenses ever. But however, they knew they were getting themselves into, because Odatai would do whatever it takes to win those titles back, to prove a point that the Cosmic Angels, they're a bunch of liars, that they don't care for those titles whatsoever. But no matter what trick they pull, it doesn't doesn't even give them even close. Fukigen Death, who's considered one of the best high-speed wrestlers, would have been the one to pick up the victory when she tried to pin Mina Shirakawa, but Mina Shirakawa pulled off an upset against Fukigen Death, retaining the titles. But of course, Natsuko Tora, not a happy camper. She's not happy that the results did not go in her way, no matter what she did. But the Cosmic Angels are my favorite faction, despite the fact there were 3, but right now there's 4 of them. I have yet to see their newest member, Mai Sakurai, join them, because they're still doing the 5-star Pritz. Hopefully that's only a matter of time. And it was a good victory. However, there is a faction out there that wants to dethrone the Cosmic Angels, but this one is led by Tam Nakano's oldest friend and now rival, Natsupoi, leading both Himeka and Micah to dethrone. However, Cosmic Angels are on the verge of trying to break the record for most consistent defenses they possibly make. Now, since I mentioned I'm behind on that, I did look a little research. I did look. Right now, they're trying to reach 10 defenses. Right now, there's only 8. You guys are surprised right now, aren't you, when I mentioned that? They're only 2 defenses away to break the record. If they break the record, they will be declared as one of the top factions in Stardom. That is one of the reasons I became a fan of Stardom, because of the Cosmic Angels, because they tell fantastic stories. They would do whatever it takes to hold on to those titles, to prove they are the best faction. However, they know they got enemies coming left and right. They know they got Stars, they got DDM, they got Oda Tai, even Queen's Quest, all factions want to stop them from reaching their goal to reach 10 victories so far. Now, could they pull it off? If they do, I will say, wow, I can't believe this is the reason I became a fan of Cosmic Angels, and that they were the reason I continue to watch Stardom. So, I will do a thing about them one day as soon as that hit. But for right now, their whole thing with the artist belts are on pause for the moment because of the 5-star Grand Prix. Um, we'll see what happens then. So I think that's pretty much it with Stardom. I say let's throw in some news updates for all of you. Okay, so here's some of the news updates. You may have heard about what happened to Triple H. He had a procedure done. He had a cardiac event. Now, this kind of shocked me a bit because here's the thing. I've been a Triple H fan for a long time, since I can remember, dating back to DX the first time. I have to say I was shocked. But he is now full recovering for everything. I know there's been a lot of WWE loyalist fans that are blaming him for the loss of the Wednesday Night War. I don't blame him for that whatsoever. I blame Vince for that. But that's how it is. But I hope he makes a full recovery. That's something we can say, and now continue to pray for him. And I hope you guys who watch these videos can do the same thing. Give your prayers to Triple H to make a full recovery, and I hope he can come back and get everything done as we know it. Now, this next news came around, of course. If you guys are fans of this guy, if you guys don't know who he is, independent wrestling star Lee Moriarty, who recently has been showing up on AEW Dark, apparently was received an offer by Tony Khan, an AEW contract. Now, this is huge. Lee Moriarty, if you guys haven't seen him, he made appearances in both Warrior Wrestling and GCW. This is one of the most well-recognized times for Lee Moriarty to, and of course he accepted. He couldn't say no. AEW is now becoming the hotspot for every pro wrestler, and this is something we talked about, where right now Mick Foley gave the warning to WWE recently, where right now pro wrestlers are going to call AEW their home to go to. Now, the last news I want to put out, if you guys know this or not, or haven't heard, Kushida has tested positive for the COVID-19, and this is new. However, this would make sense why he was unable to put the Cruiserweight title on the line. However, we really want to see that match between him and Roderick Strong, and I think we have to wait, be patient, but I hope for the best that he recovers from this, and we can't wait to see him back on NXT, and I'm very excited that he comes back. So I think that's pretty much it what we got for the news update. So I think that's it for now. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode with me reviewing AEW, GCW with Black Label Pro, DDT, and Stardom. There's still more to come. As you know, we got for the next episode NXT UK, Impact Wrestling. But I also decided to add more of the GCW events that recently came out. We have, of course, Game Changer Wrestling with the Art of War Games that happened on the 4th of September, exactly the day before All Out. And of course, if I have time, I will throw in another event. I have decided which one, but if I don't have time due to my other commitments outside of doing this YouTube channel, I won't do it. But I'm just letting you guys know that I may do 3 or 4 reviews on this one. So be patient with me, and I'll get everything done as soon as possible. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.